Welcome back to Magoo's Juice. Hope everybody's having a blessed day. So yeah, man, I want to come back up here, chop it up with, my audience and everything, and talk about the whole, Gervonta Davis, what's his next step should be as a fighter, who his next opponent should be. Man, I was just, watching that fight last night, man. It was a very good fight, man. Like I said, after a fight party, for family and friends that came over. So it was a really good time, man. But at the same time, I was really excited for the fight, especially when I saw Frank Martin. I'm like, hey, man, I think Frank will be a good, a good contender for, Tank, but I still had Tank winning. And I did say eighth or ninth round, he's going to put him down. So, yeah, man, I mean, just after rewatching the fight and everything like that, man, I just think Tank's IQ as a boxer is so underrated. It's so underrated, man, because, his knockout power, even the casual fans, people who don't watch boxing like that, they love him for the knockouts, you know what I mean? And I mean, yeah, and we all know, he just picks his shots perfectly. His timing is just, because if you look at that first round, man, his punch output, he didn't throw a lot of punches at all. Maybe 4 punches, I want to say it was. But Frank Martin, man, Frank was busy the first couple rounds. Say, first 3 rounds, man, Frank was really doing this thing, and I like what Frank was doing. He was utilizing his jab. He was using his footwork. You know what I mean? It was towards the later rounds, Tank started to dissect him, man. Tank, to me, is he's like a computer, bro. He's like a computer, man. He just sits there and he's dissecting his opponent. You know what I mean? Picking his shots wisely. He's picking the shots wisely. He just doesn't throw any random punches, for any reason. He's picking the shots wisely, and he's timing, he's getting his opponent's timing down. You know what I mean? So it was really good, man. I thought Frank did a good. And matter of fact, I put it like this, man. I think Frank Martin did better than Ryan Garcia did when Ryan fought Tank. You can disagree with me in the comments if you like, but Ryan's boxing skill set isn't as good as Frank Martin's. You know what I mean? I mean, just Ryan doesn't have, really good footwork. Ryan, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't dislike Ryan Garcia. I like Ryan. But at the same time, I thought that Frank would give Tank a better fight than Ryan did. And I feel like I was proven right. Because sitting there looking, I said, oh, Frank was doing his thing, man. It's just when he got caught on those ropes in those later rounds, and I heard Derek James say in his corner, hey, get off the ropes, man. Get off the ropes. that knockout in the 8th round, man, Tank was just lining them up. And there was that uppercut when Frank dipped down and, Tank hit him with that left uppercut and he came up. I was like, man, but you saw him, if you look at the videos, I think Fight Hub had him up. He was practicing that same punch, with Calvin Ford, his trainer, while they were in the locker room. He was practicing that 1-2. So I was like, oh yeah, and that's one thing I like about Tank, People say, oh man, he's a knockout artist. At the same time, man, the dude's IQ is really smart. And I also goes back to that's his trainers too, man. Calvin and Kenny Ford, I think they do a great job with Tank. Man, they've been with him since he was a little kid. So they know him. He knows them. So I think that trust that they have is that trust, and just kind of like that. What's the word I'm trying to say? I would say just the trust. As a camp, his camp is really solid. He has a really solid camp. Really solid camp, man. I'm excited to see who he fights next. See who he fights next. I know they were throwing out Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson. Me personally, I would like to see Tank and Lomachenko. That's a big fight. Lomachenko just beat Kambosos earlier. He got the title. So hey, shouts out to Lomachenko. But Tank versus Lomachenko would be a really good fight. That'd be a big sell too. That'd be a real big sell. That's a good fight right there, man. But I got Tank winning. I know Lomachenko throws a lot of punches, and Lomachenko's speed and footwork is really good. It's very good. But, man, I think the way Tank was cutting off that ring, too, for Frank, he was cutting the ring off in those later rounds. In the 7th, 8th round, he was just cutting the ring off. Frank really couldn't go nowhere but the ropes. So, yeah, man, I would love to see Tank versus Lomachenko. I think that'd be a really good fight. Yeah, of course, him and Shakur Stevenson. Do I want to see him and Ryan Garcia? No, I don't want to see it again. I mean, nah, I want to see him fight other fighters. You know what I mean? They talking about him and Pitbull Cruz. I don't want to see that again. But I think that, yeah, him, Lomachenko should be the next fight. That's a really big fight, too, especially if it happens this year. Yes, in the comment section, please leave a comment who you want to see Gervonta Tank Davis fight next. Do you want to see him move up to weight? You want to see him move up to 140? Do you want to see him fight, Devin Haney? I also think that him and Devin Haney will still be a good fight. Because there's a history there. Those camps do not like each other. And I know Floyd, I guess, recently put out the whole footage of the sparring video between him and Devin, so I watched the whole thing. I was like, oh, okay, so there's definitely history there, man. There's a history there. I know Devin lost to Ryan, and there's a whole stipulation with the steroids there. And hey, man, to me, you know how I feel about the steroids. I already stated in the videos. If you on steroids and you took them on purpose and got in that ring, man, forget you. That's how I see it. But anyway, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Tank versus Lomachenko. I think that's the fight I want to see Tank fight next. But hey, man, and right now he's he is the A side. He is the guy who has the ball in the court to see who he wants to pick. But yeah, shouts out to Frank Martin, man. I know Tank and Earl are really cool, man. So I think that one of the reasons why Frank Martin did get that fight is because, Tank and Earl's relationship as well. You know what I'm saying? They have a really good brother, you know, like kind of like a brotherly relationship. You know, they were even taking pictures after the fight. So, you know, there's that love there. So, yeah, man, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Again, like I said, who do you want to see Gervonta Tank Davis fight next? Who do you want to see Frank Martin fight next? I think Frank Martin, at the end of the day, he's still a really good fighter, still a good contender. So I want to see who he goes up against next. Hope everybody has a blessed day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. I'll see you soon.